Well guys, I'm going to start a new series. I'm going to start some of the deer I've killed in my life, and this is my biggest one. It's a 183 inch 15 pointer. It was in the year 2020. I'm sure we can all remember that year. It was something else, but I had probably my worst deer hunting year that year. I was hunting a deer I call One-Eyed Willie, and he whooped my butt. Seen him once and made a bad shot on him like November 1st, and we never found him until later in the year, in January. But I had no idea about this buck, so I was hunting my buddy's property and kept hunting, kept getting my butt whooped. We thought Willie was alive. I wounded another deer, and then I was just in the slumps, like I just need to take a step back. And shotgun season came, and I never liked shotgun hunting. I used to think it was too easy, but I don't think like that anymore, obviously. But I hunted at my house, and I seen a bunch of deer, and I texted my cousin, and I was like, hey, can I go out there and hunt? And he was like, oh, I don't care. I used to hunt there when I was little, and there used to be deer like this all the time. You used to see big deer. Just stopped hunting out there. High school got in the way. And that year, obviously, I had plenty of time because of COVID, and we were not in school that much. So the November 20th was my birthday. I turned 18, and I got a little too wild that night, so I didn't go hunt in the morning. So I slept in and was debating on even if I was going to go hunting, because it just wasn't in it anymore. I had lost all hope for deer hunting, and went out there that night. I wore sweatpants, so I wore Marine Corps sweatpants and just grabbed my old orange. I didn't even have any of my new orange yet. I just went and sat on a fence, and I was like, I guess if a big deer comes, they'll come out here. It's been so long since I've hunted there, and anyway, I'm sitting there, and I got out there at like 1 p.m., and the neighbor pulls into the field behind me, like the fence. I was leaned up against the fence, and started flashing their lights, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll just go somewhere else. There's this big pasture, and it rolls down to this bottom, and if you guys have watched some of my videos, you've seen this bottom because I hunt there all the time now. And there's a pine trees where an old fence row used to be, so I go and I sit down in there. I was like, maybe one will come down this bottom and I can get a shot. Anyway, it started raining, and I was like, I'm just gonna leave. I'm tired of deer hunting. Feeling sorry for myself. Actually, I was watching those videos, the Conquest Scents, and I was literally just tucked up underneath a pine tree watching them. I was like, these deer are humongous, and I was just watching. And I had always dreamed of just walking into a deer or something like this, because I didn't ever think I'd have the opportunity to shoot a deer this big, especially with places I've hunted. Just never really had the opportunity, but I knew this place one could show up. So I start walking up the hill in my sweatpants, and it starts raining, and I crest over the hill, and I see this deer with a small frame just looking at me, and I was like, I don't care, I'm shooting it. So I had a chair and my gun, so I let go of my chair. I get my gun up, and he was facing me, so I just put it on his chest, which is a stupid shot to do, but I had already made a bunch of stupid decisions, and he blew as I pulled the trigger, and he turned, and I dropped him. I hit him right in the front shoulder. Obviously, at this time, I thought I just killed like a little 8-pointer. I run up there, and I don't know how many cuss words came out of my mouth. I was like, what is this thing? Like, oh my God. And I shot him one more time, and I literally sat there in disbelief. Like, could not believe the deer I just killed. And I had no idea this deer was there. So even better. It's like a white bucket story. You hear all those big deer getting killed off of the white bucket. But so I called my dad, and I called my cousin. I was like, my cousin, he was working cows just a couple 100 yards away. He hears me shoot. I was like, you have to get over here and see this deer. I was like, I killed a mega. I called my dad. I was like, you have to get over there. He comes and sees me, and I was like, I can't believe it. And my best friend Jesse, I sent a picture of it to him, and he said, how big? And I was like, oh, I think he may go 150. And because I kept saying that, because I thought I just killed my first booner. So I was like, oh, he won't be anywhere close. So we ended up getting him out of there. It started pouring down rain, and there's a creek crossing. It's hard to get across, so we were trying to get out of there. Anyway, we got done, and went and took it to Jesse's house. I was showing everybody in town. finds out that the neighbor had been bow hunting this deer, and he's the one that gave me all these pictures of him in velvet. And he heard me shoot, and he was like, yeah, that deer just died, because he thought he was over there. But he worked his tail off for that deer, and deer kept disappearing because nobody was hunting on the property I was hunting, and this deer was going there all the time. There's a bunch of does. He was run down. He had pus all in his nose and eyes once I got, like, skinned him and everything. He had a 2-inch hole in his back strap from a rage. You could see it had grown over it. But yeah, this deer ended up scoring 183, and it's definitely probably my proudest deer. I know I just walked into him. I didn't get to like hunt him and pick him out all year like I have a couple other bucks, but this is the deer that really set my standard of trying to get big deer, and I want to replicate it. The next year there's a deer just like this. He wasn't as big, but I never got the chance to shoot him. But yeah, this is definitely my biggest deer. He got me into really wanting to hunt these big deer and manage them. I don't know if I'll ever get another bigger deer, and honestly I don't care. I love it mount. It just sits in my living room now. It collects dust, so I gotta get the dust off every once in a while. But it's stuff like that, stories like that, that I love to hear of people that don't really necessarily have 800 acres and they go and shoot a giant. I mean, that's what it's all about, especially local people. But it was awesome, and it definitely got me into hunting more and more seriously. I've definitely took it more serious. I've killed a 160 now, a 150-inch deer. We ended up finding the deer that I had wounded that year. We walked past him. He got into some big stuff, and he was 150 inches. Shot him with a bow. Had multiple chances at a booner. I've messed up. It really just set the stage of me getting back into hunting, though, because after that year, I was like, you just need to start rethinking things. And I ended up shooting like a 100-inch deer after this deer too, and that was the first time I ever tagged out, and I did it with a bow. Obviously I got this one with a gun, but yeah, it's stories like this that I like to hear. So if you guys really like this series, I hopefully am going to be able to add pictures to this video, and that way you guys can see his progression through velvet that the neighbor kindly sent to me. And just shows you guys that anybody can get a deer like this, because I had no idea what I was walking into. I was just glad to kill a 120-inch 8-pointer. But if you guys like this series, I'll continue it and do it with some more of the deer I have hanging. And hopefully you guys do like the series, because I enjoy showing you guys some of these deer because I'm very proud of them. So if you guys do like it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.